Hi folks, this is Coach Maurice. In this session, Track Your Activity, we're going to talk about the true terminology of why tracking your activity can help you stay on course and stay more active throughout the week. Activity is a key to your good health, to lose weight, and to come off your medications. So let's dive into this session and learn about how to track your activities. Hi, welcome to week 3 of the Diabetes Prevention and Weight Loss Program. I'm your host, Coach Maurice, and it's great to be back with you this week. How did you do this week, last week from the week before? Are things starting to get a little bit easier when it comes to your water intake and movement? Stay the course. Remember, it takes about 21 days to change your taste, to begin the changing of your taste buds. You can't change decades of bad eating habits in just 21 days. Give me a chance and I will change your life permanently. And remember what we discussed last week. It takes at least 45 days to begin a habit psychologically. I call it reprogramming the computer. So I can't reprogram decades of bad habits in just 21 days. Be patient, stay the course, believe in the progress and the week-by-week instructions that I will be sharing with you. Don't complicate things, don't get ahead of me. And one more thing I wanted to mention, I should have mentioned a couple of weeks ago, is whatever you do, don't mix my knowledge and information with somebody else's diet. Don't try to take, for example, the Atkins diet, bits and pieces of it, and take bits and pieces of mine and try to come up with your own. I'm afraid you will not accomplish much of anything. Whenever you want to give a program a chance, you have to give it at least 45 days before you can then make a decision. Did I give it 100%? Am I seeing the results I was hoping? Is it working? But any less than 45 days, it's not fair to judge any program. So with that being said, I'm optimistic that you're doing great. I'm optimistic that you're upbeat and you really believe in the process as we go forward. Now, today's topic is, of course, how to track your activity. Let me start by saying this. With all the gadgets, which I'll be sharing with you in just a little bit, the 10 top apps that I recommend to look at and consider based on your health and physical ability in just a moment. I will also be sharing with you during this session pillar number 2. We're going to talk about movement and what is the difference between cardiovascular and resistance training. There's a big difference between the two, and which of the two is more beneficial when it comes to weight loss. So good information I'll be sharing with you. So before we get started, if you are just listening, just continue to listen. If you can print your curriculum, print it and go ahead and let's get started together. The curriculum is really short. There's only 4 pages in the curriculum, and I will start there so we can just review what the CDC tells us about the curriculum, and then I'm going to share with you the apps, which are the top 10 apps, which ones to choose from, and also I'll be sharing with you a little bit more about the difference between cardiovascular and weightlifting. So let's together turn again, if you have access to the curriculum, let's go ahead and turn over to page 3, and let's go through how to track your activity and what the CDC recommends. Number 1, ways to track your activity. A watch, we know about this, right? We know the Apple Watch. There's so many different watches you can track your activities. To some people, let me give you a heads up about this. To some people, that's considered a plus. To some people, they don't do as well if they have to track. I'm one of those that I don't need to keep up with my steps. I've been doing this long enough. I focus on that 30, 40 minutes when I go to run every week, when I do my weightlifting. And as long as I'm doing that 30 to 40 minutes, that eases the tension off of me. I don't have to worry about watching my watch all the time. Other people, they need to be able to see something visually in order to stay motivated. So you decide whether the apps and all the different gadgets there is out there is important to you. Things like clock, timer, fitness tracker, smartphone apps, computer apps, all kind of stuff that is taking place out there that you can download and look at. Now, if you want to do it manually, ways to record your minutes, you can go with a spiral notebook, spreadsheet, fitness trackers. There's all kind of different options for you, but I will share this with you. Let me just make this comment. If you don't plan ahead, you're never going to do it regardless. I know a lot of people with these Apple Watches and all different gadgets on their phone, but they don't seem to stay consistent with their workouts. Why? Because they failed to plan. One study shows that if you visualize, as an example, if you visualize your breakfast before you go to bed, guess what happens when you wake up? You wake up craving what you visualized the night before. If you visualized fried eggs, cup of strawberries, and a glass of milk, God's creation is so amazing. What you did before you went to bed, you visualized and you programmed the brain. You wake up the next day, we become like robots. We'll go straight into the kitchen, we'll grab the eggs, we'll get the strawberries, we'll pour the coffee, and we get the milk, and we eat it and go out the door because you planned ahead. If you visualize, if you write it down, the body reminds you. The mind has the ability to remind you. Okay? It is no different than if you tell yourself, as you look at your schedule the next day, tell yourself, do I have time to work out tomorrow and when? If I have early meetings, then in my mind, I got a gap between 12 and 2 o'clock. I'm going to take my workout clothes with me, and I'm going to go for a brisk walk, or I'm going to ride the bike, or I'm going to run down to the gym. What is your option is up to you. Look at your schedule from day to day. Tell yourself, or even put it in your phone like you do a doctor's appointment, and treat it as if it was a doctor's appointment. It doesn't matter who comes in your office during the day and says, hey, Maurice, you want to go out to lunch? If you program to go for a walk the night before at lunchtime, you tell that person, you know what, I can't do 12 o'clock, but I can do 12:40. What you're saying is, give me 30 minutes to work out, change my clothes, and I will meet you, okay? You are worth it. Your movement is a key to your long-term health to prevent nursing homes and hospitals. I don't want you to constantly push your workout time to the bottom of the page every time somebody comes into your office, or every time your wife calls or your husband calls and tells you got to do things. You are important. You need to block 30 minutes a day for you. This will allow you to de-stress, regroup, keep your health healthy, lose the weight, lower medications. If you don't program in advance, you're never going to succeed. So that is the key, regardless of all the apps I will be sharing with you today. Oh, great. Now, let's talk about the apps and the top 10 apps that I recommend, and I'll share with you my opinion based on each one of them. Number one is Strava. Strava is free for all Android users and iPhone users. I love it, and I'll just read a little snippet about it. Strava aspires to connect the world's athletes by providing an inspiring experience, minus the junk posts you might find on other social networks. Again, notice the word athletes. This is not for beginners. This is for people like myself. I'm not an athlete, but I've been training for 30 plus years. I can easily download the Strava. It's free of charge, and it will help me tremendously. I've dabbled with it. I like it myself, but it may not be for you if you're a beginner. I will share with you the ones that I believe are better for beginners. Number two on the top 10 list is Runner Keep. This is one of the apps that I recommend for beginners. Runner's Keeper is free for Android and iPhone. Love it. Clients over the years have used it, and it will take you from being a couch potato all the way to running 5K within 9 weeks. That could be a very motivational app to download, because now, in your mind, even if you don't necessarily run the entire 5K, but the fact that you signed up, the fact that you participated, the fact that you finished, regardless of time, that's a big accomplishment, especially if you haven't done much of an activity or challenge in decades. To all of a sudden, 9 weeks from now, be participating in the 5K, it's amazing what it does to you psychologically and how it motivates you. So Runner Keeper is one of my favorite for beginners, and that's one of the ones I recommend. Number three on the list is Yoga Studio. Yoga Studio costs you about $5 for both Android and iPhone. Great for people that want to relax and be more limber. You can do this from the privacy of your home. They do a great job to have different levels of yoga. Yoga Studio is the most highly recommended yoga app, and for a good reason, with more than 70 ready-made yoga and meditation classes with levels ranging from beginners to advanced and lasting for 15 to 60 minutes. A great option for people that don't want to leave their home, a great way to stay limber and relax. Remember, relaxation, as I discussed weeks prior, is one of the ways to increase your endorphins and lower your cortisol level. In my case, the meditation that I use is my prayers time with my Lord in the morning. Whether you want to do the faith, whether you want to do the yoga, whether you want to sit under the tree and relax, all these things are a way to lower stress, which helps you lose weight quicker, which helps you get off medications quicker. Relaxation and laughter and exercise are all part of increasing that endorphins that makes the biggest difference in your life. Swordkit is another one. Swordkit is free, but Swordkit is a simple and customizable workout app rated #1 by the American College of Sports Medicine for quality of instructional exercise standards. That's big. Anytime the American College of Sports Medicine put their stamp on something, that tells you that they had done a real good job. I've never tested it myself, and I would definitely have you look at that, okay, for all beginners and advanced. Also, Zombie Run, I wasn't crazy about. I'll let you look at it and consider it. Workout tracker, gym log. This is for people that are active in the gym and want to keep up with their sets and repetitions. I love workout tracker, gym log. It's called GFit, J-E-Fit, F-I-T. It's free for Android and free for the iPhone, and it's for people that want to keep up with their weights and with their sets and repetitions. And the last couples I will share with you, and the one I really like the most is called Charity Miles. I love Charity Miles, especially for people that really want to help with their favorite charity but cannot afford to do it themselves. I'll just read a little snippet about this. If you fancy making a real difference with your training, Charity Miles is for you. By going out to grab a coffee, walking your dog, biking around the neighborhood, or shoveling some snow, not only will your health benefit from being physically active, but charities will also benefit too. Users of the app have already raised more than $2 million for charities. This is a motivational app. Why? Because now every time you want to skip a workout, you might be thinking, you know what? Man, if I walk 30 minutes, that's $3 to $5 going to my favorite charity, because and they're paid for, I believe, by sponsors that are committed to, under that app, to pay up to a certain amount of dollars. So what a great cause, and what a good way to stay motivated. And that is that when you work out, somebody is being paid, and that's one of your favorite charities. So those are some of the apps that I really recommend that you will consider. Again, the Charity Miles, I think it's great for beginners. Couch to 5K, I love that one. This is great for, I believe I said that correctly. Let me double check that. I believe it's Couch to 5K. Runner Keeper is what it's called. It's Couch to 5K. That would be my #1 app for you, especially as a beginner. Consider those. If you have any questions, you can always email me, maurice@coachmaurice.com, and I'll be glad to send you that attachment and share that information with you. Now, regarding pillar number 2 this week, I want to talk to you about activity. As promised, I'm going to give you a true description between cardiovascular and weightlifting. Right? Now, most people, if I ask the question, if I'm in the classroom format and I ask people to raise their hands, which of those 2 movements is more beneficial when it comes to weight loss? Is it cardiovascular or is it resistance training? Let me clarify what resistance training is. I refer to resistance training as weightlifting. Let's get something out of the way first. Weightlifting comes in 3 different formats. You can use dumbbells, you can use cable equipment, or you can use what we call rubber bands. Now, some athletes or some people want to give you their opinion and say, oh yeah, dumbbells are the best method of weightlifting, cable is second best, rubber bands not as good. Wrong. All 3 are just as effective. Whether you want to use the rubber bands at home, whether you want to join a local gym and use the dumbbells or the cable equipment. Let's get that out of the way first. They're all just as effective. Why? What should you look for when you do resistance training? At this point, if you're not doing neither cardio or resistance training, and this is week 3 for you on my program, just focus on getting 30 minutes a day of walking. Let's keep it simple. It's not... We don't have to join health clubs. We don't have to spend a lot of money right now. Let's just walk. Let's commit to working our way up to 30 minutes a day for 5 days right now. Let's give that about 45 days. Let's lose that 10 to 20 pounds. Let's get things moving in the right direction, and then we can talk about joining the health club, okay? And then we can talk about resistance training. But you need to know this in advance. The reason why dumbbells and cable and rubber bands are equal, because what you're looking for is a burning sensation. In case you are active in resistance training today, the more repetitions you do, the more of a burning sensation you feel. Let me explain what's taking place. That's good. Now, most people want to stop at that point. The more they burn, the more they want to quit. No. If your coach or yourself want to do 15 reps and you stop burning at the 10th rep, keep going to 15 even though it's burning more. Why? The muscle tissue is made of fiber, okay? And the more of a burning sensation you feel, the more you're tearing your muscle tissue apart. And this is good. Why? The Lord designed the body where we're supposed to give the body during the day. There's our 24 hours divided into a daytime and a nighttime. You need to know why the Lord designed the body where we have to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep when it's dark, at night, and why what we're supposed to be doing during the day. During the day, we're supposed to give our body all the vitamins and the minerals the body needs in the form of food and water. Okay? When you go to sleep at night, the body is healing and rebuilding. For example, if you cut yourself during the day, why does it take days or weeks for the cut to go away? Because the body must heal the cut. It does it by rebuilding the skin in thin layers, whether it takes days or weeks. And after about 2 or 3 weeks, the skin is healed, and you can even tell where the cut is. His creation is amazing. That's why I love him so much. I'm fascinated with the human body that we were designed thousands of years ago. And until today, nobody can duplicate the human body or even remotely understand how our Creator made it. That's why I believe in Him so much. And this is why I teach what I teach, the natural way, the true way, not gimmicks and con. Understand the human body. So here's what happens. When you do weightlifting, you tear your muscle tissue down. The vitamins and the water and the minerals will enter the fiber. When you go to bed at night, within 4 to 5 hours of deep sleep, the body releases the growth hormones. When it does, and it does that for about 30 minutes, the body heals the tissue with all the water and the nutrients in it, and it starts building it in thin layers. After about 4 to 6 weeks, you're looking in the mirror and you're going, hey, I can see my bicep. Hey, I can see my traps. Why is weightlifting important psychologically for individuals that want to lose weight? Because weightlifting, we'll talk about also the benefit of weight loss in a second, but weightlifting gives you the physical appearance, the physical changes within 30 days. That's exciting psychologically. The more of a definition you start seeing and you feel like, man, I can't wait to wear my t-shirt and my tank top, and it's exciting because you've been working hard, that will motivate you and excite you to stay the course. While cardiovascular, which I'll elaborate more about that in a moment, you can lose weight on the scale, but you don't see the physical change outside of your pants getting a little looser, which is good. But you're not going to see the biceps and the traps, and you stand in front of the mirror. You're not going to see the definition change. So you got to tear it down. It takes about 30 minutes. You do that 3 times a week. The body rebuilds it when you go to sleep at night. The second reason why resistance training is important, and in my opinion, more important when it comes to weight loss. Because from the time you turn 30, every decade after that, the average person loses 3 to 5% of their total muscle mass. Every decade after the age of 30, we're losing 3 to 5% muscle mass. Let's assume this is on average of 2 to 3 pounds per decade, okay, up to 5 pounds. 5% could be as much as 5 pounds per decade. Now keep in mind that 1 pound of muscle burns 50 calories per day. Muscle burns 24/7. Muscle burns when you're asleep, muscle burns when you're seated, and muscle burns when you're working out. So, if a pound of muscle burns 50 calories per day, and you've been losing muscle at a rate of, let's just round it up for my sake of adding the numbers. Let's say you're losing 5 pounds per decade. Take my age, I'm 54 years old. If for the last 2.5 decades, let's say I haven't been active in weightlifting. In 2.5 decades, let's say I've lost 10 pounds of muscle tissue. And 1 pound equals to 50 calories. How much would I have slowed down my metabolism by the time I'm 54 in comparison to when I was 30? 10 times 50 is 500, meaning by the time I'm 54, I've slowed down my metabolism by 500 calories per day. Well, guess what didn't change by the time I was 54 from the time I was 30? I'm still eating the same way. My caloric intake has been the same. If I added butter and sour cream at the age of 30 to my baked potato, guess what I'm doing at 54? When I eat a baked potato, I'm adding butter and sour cream. So your caloric intake stays the same as you're aging, but your furnace is cooling off. What I mean by furnace is your muscle tissue is deteriorating. So as the muscle is deteriorating, okay, you're gaining fat. So this is why we gain weight as we age, because the body cannot maintain the caloric intake you were consuming at the age of 30 by the time you're 54 because you don't have the furnace to burn it. And that's because muscle is deteriorating. So again, the benefit of muscle weightlifting is it regains that muscle tissue, which now your body is burning 24/7. Muscles also help support your joints, which means less tension and pressure on your joints, which means less anti-inflammatory medications. And now you can go up and down the stairs a little bit stronger and lift better. And also muscle and weightlifting specifically strengthens bone density. When you're running low on calcium as you age, doctors don't just give you vitamin D now or suggest you take vitamin D and calcium, but to get active in weightlifting because it strengthens your bone density. So there's all kind of benefit to resistance training. But again, right now let's focus on building the 30 minutes a day of walking. And down the road, I am going to suggest the resistance training because it plays a huge part in weight loss and overall health and balance as you age. Okay? So what about cardiovascular? Is cardiovascular as good as resistance training? It's totally different. Cardiovascular, the word itself stands for heart and vessels. We know that it's great for the lungs, great for your heart. Just walking 10 minutes dilates your arteries. I've seen clients lower their blood pressure. 10 minutes walking on the treadmill. After walking 10 minutes on the treadmill, we took their blood pressure before, we took it 10 minutes after walking, and it's improved by 10 to 15 points. Not permanently, but just so we can train them safely. The point is, the more you get your heart rate up the natural way, the more your arteries dilate, the better the flow, the more oxygen gets to your brain, the better your memory, the better your sleep. Because you see, folks, the Lord designed the body to hunt and to farm. For thousands of years, we had to get up every day in order to survive. We had to work the farm. People had to go on foot or on horse to get their meat in most cases. So people were physically active from sun up till sundown. So what you're going to hear from Coach Maurice moving forward, when you say, I don't like to exercise, I'm going to tell you, look, your body was designed to move. I'm sorry, argue that with the Lord one day. I can't tell you why. I'm not the designer. I'm just the mechanic that works on it. I didn't design the car. I can work on the car, okay? So my analogy of weightlifting is farming, when people had to go up manually and farm every day. And cardio is when people went on foot to hunt. So now you have to go to the gym, you have to get on the treadmill, you have to grab dumbbells because we're not farming anymore. Now, if you're farming from sun up till sundown, you may not need to join a gym at this point because you're pretty much getting that activity. But regarding cardiovascular, number one, cardiovascular is not a muscle building exercise. It's strictly a cardio workout, okay? So it's not going to help you burn calories 24/7. Number two, cardiovascular only burns while you're doing it. Okay, so if you went for a walk for 45 minutes, you activate your heart rate, you activate your metabolism, you're burning calories, you're increasing your blood flow, your oxygen flow. It's extremely beneficial. But once you get home and jump in the shower, within 30 to 45 minutes, as your heart rate is slowing back down to its resting heart rate, so are your metabolism. Remember, heart rate goes up, metabolism follows. Heart rate slows down, metabolism follows. Why do you think exercise is a key to weight loss? Because you want to keep your metabolism active. By doing that, you lose weight. So cardiovascular has a lot of benefit, but remember, it only burns calories while you're doing it, not 24 hours a day. Now, it burns a lot of calories in that 45 minutes. You might burn 300, 500, 800 calories, but it's only for that time. While a pound of muscle burns 50 calories per day every 24 hours, but if I can rebuild that 4 to 5 pounds of muscle or 10 pounds of muscle you've lost over the years, that's going to generate a lot of calories because it's burning slower, but it burns 24/7. So you need the combination of cardiovascular, and that's where I want you to start. But at some point, we need to pivot to resistance training, and we'll talk more and more about this as we go forward. Now, just so we wrap it up with the exercise, understand that the movement itself, the combination of cardio and weightlifting is important. Understand, number one, it takes about 45 days to start seeing results, or to start seeing the results of moving and the increase of blood flow and oxygen flow and endorphins. You're going to notice that your depression is going to improve. You're going to notice that your sleep is going to improve. You're going to notice the scale move in the right direction. You're going to notice that your joints are feeling better. All of a sudden, your blood pressure is improving. Your cholesterol is improving. So much is associated with drinking the water and the movement every day for 30 minutes that this is why I've always said 90% of all the medication taken in our society today is self-induced. It's due to the lack of exercise, it's a lack of water intake, and it's eating too much junk food, which involves sodium and MSG. Those are things we'll be discussing in the future, and the chemicals and what are the side effects. But until we go back to the basics, until we start grocery shopping again and packing our lunches and cooking our dinners, next week I will be talking to you about how many calories you need. We're going to talk about the fruits and the vegetables and how much of them, and you're going to learn a lot. So next week, you definitely want to tune in for week 4. We're going to be discussing calories. We're going to be talking about food. But the focus the first 3 weeks is just to get you off the couch, get you moving, drinking the water, and get some of the basics down. I hope you've enjoyed this session. If you have any questions, don't forget, email me. My email address is maurice@coachmaurice.com.